It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a modern podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate, oh yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name is Mike Royer.
And this week we're getting back into the swing of things with Across the Spider-Verse in theaters, Mike. Yeah?
Man, we just needed one more bit of Spider-Man.
I know,
news,
I ran out of Spider-Man
this could have
news.
been a spider sweep.
Yeah, I know. We're going to talk about this 12-minute Spider-Man 2 gameplay reveal that dropped in the middle of the week, which we were told wasn't going to happen, Mike, and I want to figure out what happened with that bit of news for you. The other biggest thing this week is the Fantastic Four cast has potentially been revealed via some scoopers and more.
Yeah, I guess what we could have done, I just saw like a rumored tweet, probably like a discussing film Twitter account. I swear they'll retweet just anything that's like a rumor. That was like Martin Scorsese considering Tom Holland for his new movie about Jesus, and Tom Holland would be Jesus. So I guess maybe that could have been our possible third Spider-Man adjacent news, as if we'd ever talk about it to begin with. But.
Right, yeah, that's I'm trying to think of maybe there's some stuff in Ironheart. We'll talk about Spider-Man Homecoming. That could have been it. Mike. So, but yeah, absolutely. We are in. I would say happy Memorial Day to everyone. And thank you for those who served. Is that right? Am I on the right day? Right? Okay. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. It's the first of three American holidays. Is what I call it. There's this one, the 4th of July, and then there's Labor Day. Right? Those are the three. I guess tent poles of summer, if you will. Yeah,
I would be curious if other countries around the globe have kind of similar first world problems when it comes to banking holidays, Memorial Day, Labor Day, Veterans Day. Veterans Day is very self-explanatory. We know what that day is for. Yep. Specifically for the veterans, right? Sometimes you get that day off school. Sometimes you get that day off work. Not always clear, right?
Yeah.
Then you got Memorial Day and Labor Day, and it's just all right, Memorial Day, we're in it right now. I feel like it has patriotic vibes to it. So
yes, the red, white, and blue, cutler, paper plates and cutlery are in full effect.
Yeah, and I believe Labor Day has something to do with labor movements,
workers' rights and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it seems very out of place compared to the other ones, right? Yeah. But I'm not complaining. We usually get the time off, but yeah, this is. There's got to be holidays like this in I don't know, Australia or something like that, where it was I don't know what Kangaroo Day is, but I get the day off work, so that's all that matters.
That's right. But yeah, so I would say, on a quote unquote unofficial summer / official day of summer, right? Here in whatever part of the country I'm in, Midwest, middle thing. School is ending this week, for kids. Pools are opening for the first time on Memorial Day. The sun is out. It's pushing 80 to 90 degrees on the regular. So it feels like summer. The drive-in theater is open in full effect as well, Mike. I saw it yesterday. So they had Across the Spider-Verse on it when I drove by it this morning. And I'm like, wait, can I go early? Can I go to the drive-in? They're not open on a weekday, but
before. Of course, any of our Australian fans jump at me for simplifying their entire country to Kangaroo Day. I just Googled it. It exists. It happened just the other week, May 15th. International Kangaroo Care Awareness Day. Well, so it is a day. Just let me know if you got it off work. I'm just curious.
The interesting part with that is also, again, we have to, one of the other podcasts I listen to, they're Australian-based. Their seasons are backwards, right? Their Christmas is summer, and their... and what our Independence Day would be for them is freezing cold. So I'm like, well, I guess I'd be interested to see kind of how that plays out in the other direction, right? When it's warm in December and cold in July.
It's we're just going to have to go to Australia. That is just the writing on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
We'll go meet some koalas.
That's right. You can throw another shrimp on the Barbie, if you will. Because we don't have it in here, but I believe there was a new Barbie trailer this week, right? That movie is coming out pretty soon. Is that a summer movie?
Was that what does it have to do with Australia? Just curious.
Because I said shrimp on the Barbie.
Oh, and wait. Oh, Barbie. Oh, Barbie. It was the literal. It was a literal hookup. I didn't even.
No. Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm looking. If you search Barbie, you get the new movie, 2023. But on the right hand, like the little pane where it tells you the IMDb and the release date is like 2006. I'm like, this is not helpful, Google. You are killing me. Trying to find July 21st. So it's a summer movie. But anyways.
I saw a graphic on social media that was showing the artists that are going to be in the like Barbie soundtrack or whatever.
Yeah. Dua Lipa's new song's out. I've been listening to that this weekend, but go on.
And I was scanning to see if Aqua was in there anywhere.
Yeah.
I was curious if they brought them back for a Barbie girl. I didn't see it, but who knows? Maybe there's going to be some sort of cameo.
They are in the new trailer. That song is on the new trailer.
Ooh, they sampled it. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so it is there.
Weirdly enough, Ryan Gosling is in the soundtrack. It just says Ryan Gosling, so he must do some sort of like original song in the movie. I don't think he can sing. I mean, you can kind of hear his. Yeah, like I put quotations around sing. He's kind of doing one of those like singy, talky things. I feel like. I mean, he's handsome and an amazing actor.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to sing.
Yeah.
So I'm not levying.
But
that
I'm sure he can. That's the best part, right? Like I'm not gonna put it past him. But yeah, I'm not expecting him to do like break out into like full. Like a Little Mermaid movie, right? For timeliness, in a Barbie movie when he's playing Ken. So.
Now, Chris, I feel like at this point in time, we're talking about just movies, just packed to the gills, right? You know, we're talking about movies that have action, that have singing, that have like romance and everything.
Oh my God.
I feel like you have just experienced a movie recently that I feel like must have a singing number in it. No singing. The only thing are you trying to tell me Vin's not out there singing?
The only thing it lacked was singing, Mike. That's the hard part here. But I watched Fast 10 this week, and I've completed my 11 Fast and Furious movie quote unquote 2-part marathon. I got through like the first 8 once a long time ago, maybe last year, and then Hobbs and Shaw 9 and 10. And I will tell you. I have very low bar for these movies, as we all know, and
as you should.
Yes, and this movie just continually just lowered that bar even more. It is making lots of money everywhere. I'm sure people are enjoying it. People can enjoy it. I laughed so hard during this movie, Mike, because I've got to that point where I'm tired of thinking about movies. I know these are bad. I don't want to try to sit here and, it's very easy for us to, shit all over some of these movies sometimes. I'm like, I'm just going to sit here and laugh at how stupid this movie is. And Fast 10 is by far the stupidest of the movies, Mike, I've seen out of this whole franchise. And I'm just going to give you, you've seen the trailers. There's stuff in the trailers. At one point, there is this bomb literally rolling through Rome towards the Vatican City, right? Like, and Vin is in his car, and this bomb is about to run over this gas pump, and he drives up on the other side of the street on a little ramp to prevent the explosion from hurting people on the sidewalk with his car, because he is Jesus behind the wheel whenever he's in these cars. So it is by far the weirdest since Jason. I would also say Jason Momoa is weird in this. Like, he's not like a normal. Like, he is very unhinged, and it doesn't match how they kind of sold him at the beginning of the movie. Because whether you know this or not, this is technically a sequel to Fast 5. So you're buckle up, buckaroos, because if you didn't watch Fast 5, you're missing out on a lot. This one, but he's just so unhinged in a really, really weird way. And I will tell you, they did the one thing I didn't think they would ever do in this movie, Mike. They did one thing I didn't think they would ever do, and they left it on a cliffhanger. Like, they're like, we know we're making another one, whether you like it or not. So we don't even have to end this movie. They didn't end it with the barbecue like they always have in all the other movies. So,
man,
I know it's really, really crazy to think that. But I again, Fast. I'm not gonna watch these in theaters. They are not getting my money by any imagination for the next Fast 11 whenever it comes out, where they make it. But like, if you're into the Fast movies, this is just on par with 9, just a little like stupider with some of the stuff. But like, if you're not into the Fast movies, this one's not going to change your mind. So I had a good time laughing and just being goofy with it, because we are in summer movie season, Mike. We've got so many movies. I was looking at my tickets, right? For we have something this week. I have Transformers the week after, and then we have what was it? Indiana Jones, and the Flash tickets went on sale. So like we are just in prime summer movie season, man.
Yeah, Wes Anderson's next movie comes out in June as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so like we're just wall to wall movies to watch here, and I hit a point where I'm like, I don't even want to think about the ones I know that are going to be dumb, which I feel like Transformers is going to be the same way, right? Like I'm just going to be like, nah, I don't need to even come at it because it's already going to get wiped all over the place. But Fast 10 if you're a fan of the franchise, you're going to love it. If you aren't a fan, this is not going to change you. So just avoid it like the plague. But it seems here on your next movie, and now this title that you've put in here could be one of about 4 different movies. I'm gonna guess.
Yes.
I'm gonna really, really hope that this is the newest one of them.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Okay.
Finally playing a summer, I guess early summer movie catch up, if you could even call this a summer movie. But finally got to watch Dungeons and Dragons, which I do resonate with you, Chris, when you say it is nice sometimes to just sit down and watch a movie that's not connected to like a gigantic franchise. Not something where you have to worry about like the lineage of where the story is gonna go next, or if there's required reading before you get into it.
Yeah.
You can just kind of like turn your brain off a little bit.
Which is funny because Dungeons and Dragons, I feel, would have like the most lineage and the most reading beforehand if you've played the games, right? But like the movie does not require that. So
yeah, it's just totally unnecessary to watch it and enjoy it. And like while we were watching it, like I could see very much what was and like wasn't supposed to be like a reference, right? Mm-hmm. Because you just have like very specific objects on the screen or specific like spells being cast, and it's just like I feel like this would have been in like a D&D handbook for sure. But it was just fun, and I think it's just been a while since I've got to see Chris Pine like kind of be that Captain Kirk Chris Pine again, just like the swashbuckly, like charming, funny, arrogant type of guy.
The lead with a plan, and he's always got a joke up his sleeve no matter what.
Yeah, it was a good time. It's a little slow to start, and in the first act, I'm just kind of like, okay, people said this movie was like really, really like good, and I was like, when is that gonna kind of like kick in? And then once the kind of like merry band gets together and they start going on their like quote unquote like campaign, right?
Yeah,
it really. And like the movie is just set up really, really well to like search for MacGuffins, right? That's kind of like the mark, the bad mark that like kind of superhero movies get. There's always like a MacGuffin that the hero's got to get or protect, right? But in a D&D movie, it's just like, MacGuffin City. There's a magical objects around every corner. We got to get it. We got to steal it. We got to hide it. We got to unhide it. So it was just fun, and you can just like, I was like. I was shocked by the celebrity cameo of Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, I know. I was trying. I was like, I didn't expect him at all when I saw this, and it's so funny because he's playing literally like a little halfling in the movie.
Yeah, it's just so. At first, I was like, "Is that Brad?" I couldn't almost believe it for a second, just because he's like. He just doesn't traditionally look like very handsome in the role, right? He's kind of like almost got like a bowl cut going on a little bit in a way, and he's like
skinny
shrunken
hobbit.
down.
He's a skinny hobbit, if you will, at the end of it.
Yeah. It was so funny. I hope it seems like obviously they're gearing up for sequels for this. We talked about the success of this movie before on the podcast. I've just finally gotten to watch it. Yeah. So I hope his character gets to come back in some fashion.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think 2 things. One. My anytime I think about this movie, I think about the scene with the tiefling who changes into like she was a fly and then she has to change into like a bird and a cat. And that
great
whole
sequence.
long scene, like that's one long take sequence, and it's fantastic with all the different animals. But also, we both just watched Michelle Rodriguez movies back to back.
That's right.
She's out here killing it, and all these.
She's kind of doing like a proto kind of like Drax, I would say, in this group, but it works really, really well. I'm not used to her kind of being like funny. She's just so serious in everything that I've seen her in. So it was a nice turn there.
And spoilers, not spoilers, doesn't matter. But like she literally dies and comes back to life in everything she's in, Mike. Like literally every franchise she's been in, she's like Resident Evil, Fast movies, stuff like that. She is a force to be reckoned with. And
notably, she told James Cameron she did not want to come back in the Avatar universe. She put her foot down for that one.
Yeah. Wait till the third one or the fourth one. She's going where the money is, man. She's just everywhere. So, absolutely, I'm glad you got to finally watch it. I'm glad you thought it was good because it is a fun adventure movie. Right at the end of the day, like all the characters come and go. The what's his name? The Paladin dude, who's in Bridgerton. I thought he was really fun too. Like
he's very straight laced, type of character,
badass the whole way through, right? He's like if you want to be somebody, you want to be him, kind of thing.
Yeah, the chunky dragon, that was hilarious. The real like, oh, this is just like a fat chunky boy protecting all of his like I don't know if it was those gold in there. He was just
his
eating everybody.
Yeah, so
yeah, but that was great. But go check it out. It's on Paramount Plus. I'm sure you probably don't have a subscription to it because I think it's the streaming service that's struggling the most with subscribers. So I think it's worth a month of it to just go peep it and check it out, and then I don't know, go watch some Star Trek on top of that. But that's
the two
Dungeons and Dragons.
The two things on Paramount: Dungeons and Dragons and Star Trek.
Exactly. And then me and my wife are almost finished with the 4 series, 4 of our favorite TV series that are ending just within this like week bubble right here. We just wrapped up Marvelous Miss Maisel on Friday, and then Succession and Barry last night. I won't spoil any of these things if any of you listeners are out there, but the series finale for Ted Lasso is coming up just tomorrow. So we're just like ending all of the things that we like to watch. So we're gonna have to start slotting in new TV shows into our rotation. But so far, I think the Marvelous Miss Maisel finale was the most satisfying for us, but that show is about kind of like redeemable and likable characters, whereas like Succession and Barry are just kind of narratives around like maybe some of the worst people you could come across. So you're kind of almost like rooting for demise when it comes to those shows. So it's a little bit of a different calculus in your head. So it'll be nice to end with the palate cleanser of Ted Lasso, which everybody is lovely in that show. So heads up if you need any show recommendations, those are all about to wrap up. They're very bingeable.
It's funny. I've seen Ted Lasso appear in the news more recently because obviously it's in the middle of the season, right? Mm-hmm. And public discourse in the show has turned hard apparently in season 3. Like,
man,
nobody likes season 3 of Ted Lasso anymore.
This was the problem. Ted Lasso came onto the scene, this awesome feel-good show that people definitely needed during the pandemic, and also it was just a nice change of pace. The closest thing people could compare it to would be like Parks and Rec, but like we just hadn't seen this like shot of just joyness in a TV show in a while, so it was nice. So people all of a sudden just started turning it into like, I feel like it just they elevated it too high than what it was supposed to be. They were like turning it into like their next Game of Thrones, where they were like shipping people, they were like making predictions, and I think they just took the fandom like way too hard, way too fast for just kind of like a little Apple TV show about like soccer.
Well, I think what I've heard is the episodes are twice as long as they used to be. And the feel-good attitude is gone in the show in season 3. Like it is a different show than when it started. From my now, I've not watched it, but I'm like, well, if a show started doubling episode length and wasn't the same, I'd probably be a little upset too. But I don't know. I'd not heard Ted Lasso. Everyone loves it. Then the next thing, everyone's very against it. I'm like, I got whiplash just reading the news on it. But
I mean, the thing is, I could relatively agree with these people, right? The first season is by far the best season, but if you don't elevate something onto a pedestal, you can still enjoy, what they have left to tell. So that's my recommendations, public service announcements, whatever you want to call it. Go out there, watch some good TV. I could recommend all of these shows. But yeah, that's what I've been up to, Chris.
All right. Well, then you're gonna have to. At least they're all ending, because this week you get to go back to the theaters and we get a return to Sony's Spider-Verse, Mike, after several years. How long has that been since that movie? It feels like it's been forever.
I want to say 2018. I know I could easily type it into this magical screen in front of me, but I'm just going to go ahead and wing it.
2018. It was December of 2018. In my head, it was 2019, but it was late December of 2018. So, we've not been there in several years, and we are returning back into it. Theaters this week. I've not heard anything or seen any articles about post-credit scenes for this movie, but I'm going to say there probably is one or two, right? There was one in the first one, teasing Spider-Man 2099, who is obviously a main character in this one. And then also, in case you've all forgotten, Beyond the Spider-Verse, the sequel list, is coming out in less than a year, March 29th, 2024. So my guess is, as they've said, and everyone loves to say about their second movie in a trilogy, this is their Empire Strikes Back, Mike. And with an Empire Strikes Back, that means you're leaving it on a cliffhanger, probably, to revisit it in just a couple months. So,
oh man, you said Empire Strikes Back, and it just made me remember. There's these two roommates that are on TikTok, and the other one has not seen any Star Wars before in their entire life. They obviously know of it. You can't live in this world and not know something about Star Wars, but they've never seen the movies. So the roommate is setting them down and watching them chronologically through the story, and then recording their reactions. And they're getting up to Empire. They just went through the prequel trilogy. They watched A New Hope. The next one is going to be Empire Strikes Back. So I'm really curious to see what happens to that. But it's really fun. Like that's the one thing that would make like a nerd who like would never want to have children, just so you can like bring somebody new into the world and show them Star Wars at some point in time.
Yeah. I mean, it's I always reference that comic, right, from XKCD. It's like you're one of today's lucky 10,000 who are being introduced to this for the very first time, and like there is opportunity when someone's like, I haven't watched that, to celebrate that with them and go live vicariously through them experiencing this media.
And what do you do? Like you have this huge responsibility of like, how do I introduce this to somebody? Do we go chronologically through the narrative? Do we do release orders so they can kind of understand the cultural world and how it affected it, you know?
It's funny because I literally talked to someone Friday night about this who's never seen it, and they were like, I don't know where I would start. Maybe chronologically. I'm like, I would recommend, and I always say the machete cut of Star Wars, right? And this is where you do 4, 5, 2, 3, 6.
Yeah, but thing is, now you got Rogue One you can throw into the mix. Well, soon you might be able to include Andor into the whole thing.
If you're just doing movies, right? Just to keep it simple right now, because I would diving into the Clone Wars TV show and Andor and all the other stuff, that'd be a whole different beast. But like if you're like, we're gonna watch the movies, I would do 4, 5. You could do 1, 2, 3 if you want to see them all. But obviously, I think there's a real, if they don't know, Darth Vader is Luke's father, which a lot of people probably know just culturally, right? Even if you've never seen the movies, you're like Luke, everyone knows the line. Finding that out and then going back and finding out who Anakin Skywalker is in 1, 2, and 3 is such a fun trip to watch it that way. So we have Star Wars news later, but while we're on it, the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi was recently, right? And there's this project I follow called Star Wars Despecialized. And are you familiar with this project?
Oh, yeah.
So they released a version 3 of Return of the Jedi this week for that anniversary. So like they keep going back, finding older reels, cleaning them up, making them 1080 and 4K finally, of these closest to theatrical release ever of these movies. And they're fan projects. You can't buy them. Really impressed Disney and Lucasfilm have let this go on for as long as they have. Letting people, literally un-George Lucas the film at the end of the day. So that came out this week for people who are interested in that.
Nice.
Moving on, across Spider-Verse, buy your tickets, get out and see this movie. It is a cartoon movie, yes, but people need to go see it in theaters. The first one is great. This one's I have high hopes for this one, Mike. So get out and see Spider-Verse in theaters. Captain America: New World Order it's the next movie production to be affected by the writer's strike that is still going on, and I don't think there's any end in sight yet. But more power to them. And another movie as well. But we have some set photos of Sam Wilson and what's his name, Danny Ramirez, or Joaquin Torres as Danny Ramirez while they're filming Falcon and Winter Soldier out here. Not Falcon, New World Order, Captain America: New World Order. Sorry.
I mean, I suppose this is an improvement over the last set photo we saw, where there was just a perpetual plane wing blocking everything, but he is out of the suit in civilian clothes, so it just kind of looks like somebody's catching him walking out of lunch.
But that was the suit from that video last week, though. When you're like, was that Anthony Mackie? Like, yeah, because that's the same clothes he was wearing whenever he was with the snake dude. So So pretty excited to see that. I mean, like I said, I'd rather just watch the footage. So hopefully, this comes out soon. But I'm glad they're still doing production. On the flip side of this, what is probably a closely related movie, or maybe similar, the Thunderbolts movie production has been paused during the writer's strike as well. So no real surprise there. I've not seen anything like filming on this yet. So I think it's just like, again, pre-production scripting, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like I'll have a little bit more to say when we get to our other movie that was not affected by the writer's strike, but was at the same time. Yeah. So I'll wait to chime in when we get to Deadpool 3.
Yeah, Thunderbolt. I think we've talked about how things are going to be delayed at Marvel due to Iger's quality over quantity strategy, right? Mm-hmm. And I think this is going to push back several more things that we have reported on, right? Like, if Thunderbolts production's pause, I don't think the Century one shot is going to happen, or it's not going to happen this year, right? One of those things. So I think when SCCC rolls around, we're going to get a more up-to-date release schedule to reflect real-world events and their internal planning for everything. News that dropped today: the Punisher, John Bernthal, is returning to Daredevil: Born Again, and afterwards, it is rumored that he's going to get his own headline show on Disney Plus as well. Again, another Punisher show, if you will.
Wow.
Boy, they just love the Punisher over there, don't they? Like, I didn't expect him to get. He didn't get a show on Netflix until later. Then he got 2 seasons of the show, so they like bringing him in to the stuff.
I'm just really curious narratively how they bring back characters like Daredevil and the Punisher, which theoretically have different character origins slightly, because these are like multiversal versions of the characters, right? They're not the same that we've seen from Netflix. So it's like we do need like a little bit of backstory to just inform their character, right? But I feel like it's going to be like a little confusing, right? Because they treaded a lot of like ground or for both of these characters of kind of like how they cope with their past and trauma and like their friendships and their love lives and everything like that. So when you're booting up like a brand new series, I feel like, do you just what do? You have to like, just like any new season of a show, right? You have to invent like a brand new storyline, new new hurdles for them. But yeah, it'll be interesting, like narrative, problem solving.
Yeah, I don't think I think I'll lean a little bit farther from you. I don't think it'll be confusing. I think they will borrow elements from the Netflix show, right? Like, hey, here's some similarities, like Daredevil and She-Hulk, and Spider-Man. Yeah, it's fine, works for me. Kingpin, I'm interested to know why he's is different, right? He's more of a comic booky, like tankier character, gonna be in this. But yeah, Punisher, to me, it's just they love bringing Frank Castle in everything they do. The Punisher just got this, but it kind of gives me hope, a little bit of hope here, Mike, that some of these ground level heroes, fighters, events, whatever we want to call them, are going to be able to live and exist without having to be part of these larger universal cataclysmic events, right? Like, hey, we can literally see someone like the Punisher in downtown or like in Queens or New York, whatever, without having to deal with alien invasions all the time or something like that. Yeah. Like, the world's not ending all the time here. It's just like we have criminals that we have to worry about all the time. Mm-hmm. So very excited for that. On the flip side, speaking of New York, Ironheart, the show that is done in production, we've not heard much out of this show in a while, right? Since she made her debut in Wakanda Forever. But the rumor is Mephisto is human form, if you will, has purchased the Avengers Tower during that Spider-Man Homecoming and owns a tech company. So we'll mostly see him as a suited up businessman in the show, which I thought is an interesting take.
I won't believe anything about Mephisto until I see it with my own eyes.
Yeah. I think this is the best way. This will be the most likely scenario because of the red. Not the Red Hood. That's DC. The Hood has his magical cape or whatever. So we're going to be interested to see why the devil wants technology at the end.
I do like the idea of the tower going in the other direction, right? I think everyone just assumed it would be the Fantastic Four tower at some point in time. There's 1,000 photoshops you can see out there on Google Images if you want to, right?
And I'm glad it's not the Kingpin as well. That was the other thing. Like, the Kingpin bought it. Well, no, he doesn't really need to buy the tower yet. Maybe at the end of this, but Ironheart relatively quiet on that front, so hopefully we get some news sooner than later, right? Get to see some of this. All right, buckle up. We are in the Fantastic Four news section, Mike. Yeah, we want to talk about this. The rumored cast for this movie has been revealed by quote-unquote a scooper called My Time to Shine Hello. This account is notorious for dropping everything and anything. It could be true, it could be not true. I think the more you drop, the more likely something is just going to stick, right? So that's where he gets some things right, gets some things wrong. So if you click in here, you'll see the photos of the 4 actors. And they are saying that Adam Driver is locked in as Reed Richards' Mr. Fantastic, which we've talked about. Margot Robbie as Sue Storm in The Invisible Woman. Paul Mescal as Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. And Daveed Diggs as Ben Grimm, the Thing.
Which, I mean, star-studded to start off, right? You know,
Yep.
Adam Driver and Margot Robbie. I'm not super familiar with Paul Mescal. I'm sure
he is the lead in the upcoming Ridley Scott's Gladiator 2 movie. He's the lead in that.
Right.
So he will be there. And then Daveed Diggs, he was in the Hamilton play. And then before coming out, he's in, what was it, Snowpiercer. And he's the voice of Sebastian the Crab in this weekend's Little Mermaid movie as well, and some other things. He's done a lot of work. But that's what he's known for around there. So,
yeah, this seems to be, if this is rumored, you know, not set in stone, if we don't really know, right, this would be like the star-focused version, right? I feel like there was also like a version of the Fantastic Four that's been floating around that's like more lower key, right? You know, they might be known in smaller circles, but let's build them up and turn them into superstars in a way, right? Yeah. So, I mean, I love Adam Driver, you know. Yeah. I could love him in anything, and as I say every single time we talk about Reed Richards on the show, if they go the Ultimates route and they turn him evil eventually, I mean, perfect casting.
Yeah, and this is, to me, it's very interesting that, you know, again, Adam Driver and Margot Robbie would obviously sign up for this, knowing that this is probably a role or a contract that has a longer stipulation than most other Marvel contracts right now, right? Like the Fantastic Four. Secret Wars, you know, more movies down the road. So I'm happy they were able to lock these people in for a longer term at this point, because again, Margot Robbie not as coming from Harley Quinn now over here to Marvel, being a shift there, and Adam Driver, you know, from Star Wars. The other two, I think the other two, I say, Mike, would be your relatively unknowns, right? You're half of like up and comers, if you will. So. Go ahead.
And I feel like Daveed Diggs, right? You know, really with anyone being cast for the Thing, right? You know, eventually they're behind a suit of rocks, right? You're kind of just looking for like your Bradley Coopers or your Vin Diesels, right? You know, for your CG character. So, you know, not saying it could literally be anybody, but at least that actor doesn't have to worry about hair and makeup as much, right? They're just showing up to the booth.
Yeah, and or they could be doing mocap as well. But, you know, he's right now his latest role is a voice acting role. So, absolutely fantastic. I think the only thing I want to see out of this, Mike, is when Secret Wars rolls around, we need a Chris Evans, a Michael B. Jordan, and a Paul Mescal meeting up, the 3 Human Torches, right? Like,
I see what you're saying.
like we and then, you know, like then you know, maybe Human Torch meets Captain America, and then, you know, the other one meets Killmonger at some point, or like, hey, you look familiar.
That would get the theater going. That would get the crowd hooping.
That's your Mjolnir, Captain America Mjolnir moment from Endgame.
Yes,
right,
exactly.
And then the other part of this, we've talked about this before, but Antonio Banderas is obviously rumored as Galactus, and then he posted a video literally this weekend of him getting a exact copy of his face built for a movie. And why would you do that unless you're going to use him as a big, you know, alien kind of thing, right? Like, is this his Galactus? Are they modeling the Galactus stuff kind of thing? I don't know, because he's got that big helmet, right? We all talked about the Galactus, the big helmet. So,
oh man, there's probably like hair and makeup people out there who work in the industry that like recognize like these specific people doing it, and they're probably like, oh, or I guess they'd be props people, right? Yeah. And they'd be like, oh no, these people always work on like Marvel movies, right? So there could be a little bit more here, but yeah,
and it's I get claustrophobic watching this video. It's a time lapse of him being essentially encased in plaster, and about the time they only leave him with his nose holes uncovered, I start getting a little claustrophobic watching it. So
it's kind of crazy. You don't really need to do this as much anymore, right? With a lot of the 3D scanning technology that we have, but this is cool too.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure he's gotten both done, for that. So very, very, very cool. Now to jump back to where you were talking about, Deadpool 3 has started filming. Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds, they're on set. They're doing the roles. I believe also the actor who does Colossus was there as well. But one of the big rules or things to come out of this is Ryan Reynolds cannot ad-lib or change stage directions or anything from the script during production, because he has a co-writing credit on this movie compared to previously when he did not, and it was added later. Like, he started off with a co-writing credit. So that really prevents him from, ad-libbing on set. However, as we have talked about till we're blue in the face, literally you can voice over any of his lines in the voiceover booth because he's wearing the Deadpool mask, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, there's very little work you have to do on set.
Yes, exactly. And especially since, I don't think he was out of the Deadpool suit that often in the sequel. I don't believe so. I don't think we saw a lot of, except in the prison scene, I guess. Yeah. But that was just the one segment. So he's traditionally in the suit most of the time. So, and if you think about scheduling and production and everything, if this strike goes comparably to as long as some of the other ones, the strike will probably last about as long as physical production of this movie, right? With the cameras out and filming. So yeah, the strike could be wrapped up by the time post-production comes around, and then you can ad-lib and go crazy and you'll be fine. You'll be good to go. Also, I don't know, you could consider this a bad thing, you could consider this a good thing, but this movie has probably been written about 1,000 times already. We like when it was back at like Fox, they had like drafts of it. It was moved to Disney, they probably had a draft of it. They decided where they were going to probably put it in the multiverse, they had a new draft of it. So I feel like maybe a lot of the problem solving for the writing has hopefully already been done,
Well, this movie also, it had the sisters writing it first, and then it went back to Reese and Warnick, right? Like, remember, like the Molyneux sisters did it originally. Yeah. So this has been through several hands, well beforehand. So hopefully they do the script, and with Ryan Reynolds on the writing staff. Technically, I guess they would have a writer there, even though he's not officially there as a writer, right? Because most of the production stuff, you don't have a writer on set, or they should, because they need one there to do this. So hopefully he can at least, hey, we'll shoot some more when it's done for payouts, but let's keep production going for everybody else on the crew. So
yeah, another thing these films are going to have to look out for is there's an actor strike possibly on the horizon. Coming up as well. So that could impact some of these things. So I think we all just kind of need to like buckle down and just prepare that there is a lot of renegotiation happening out here in Hollywood. And, you're maybe not going to get things as quickly as you wanted, but you could see an explosion in animated content, right? If it doesn't cross over with WGA, because the Animation Guild, they already renegotiated their contract, I think, last year. Yeah. So you could see a lot more animated projects on streaming possibly. So, if you like animation, that could be a bonus for a little while.
But if you don't watch it, they're going to remove it from all your streaming services forever, and you'll never be able to watch it. So, we are just in this vortex of awfulness. So, hopefully they get all this ironed out for us, just us consumers, on those regular people. Moving into DC, there were some Funko releases earlier, and one of the villains they confirmed on these Funko releases is someone named Conrad Carapax. And I'm like, that sounds like a really old villain who's named after a bug somehow.
Yeah, Carapax. Yeah, it sounds like something like a part of a bug or something, like another word for like an exoskeleton or something, like Carapace. Yeah. I think that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. I think there's like a Pokemon named Carapax or something similar to it as well. But he's in the comics, he was the indestructible man. He wears his consciousness was transferred to a suit of armor during like some sort of accident or something. So he's essentially an indestructible man who is the suit of armor. He's not in the armor. He is the armor kind of thing. So
the carapace is the upper section of an
carapace.
exoskeleton.
See, there you go.
So there you go.
Yep. So it's all coming around. But yeah, he's not been around really a lot. He was like a villain in like the second Blue Beetle. So don't know much about him, but that's supposed to be the villain in this. So I expect fully another a color swap version of Blue Beetle he's gonna be fighting with later, who's red and gold. So not really surprised. Again, this movie is still on track to release later this year. Don't really know what to make of it yet, but maybe it'll be fun, right? Maybe we'll get to see some fun things in here, since it was made for HBO Max before it went to theaters. On the flip side of this thing, the next DC project hitting theaters is The Flash, and tickets are now on sale. However, with this came some really like whiplash-inducing news here that the early estimates for this movie, they're like, oh, it's going to make 140 million opening weekend, right? And now it's down to 70 million. They literally cut the anticipation in half, Mike, when the tickets actually went on sale. So
the ticket sales were they came up out of nowhere. I mean, I guess from just an execution point of view, right? It was just, I was in the middle of the day one day, and I just happened to be on my Cinemark app earlier in the morning. I think I was trying to reconfigure some of my Spider-Verse show times, right? And that morning, the Flash tickets weren't on sale because I was checking. And then later I checked again, like 2 hours later, then all of a sudden they were on sale. And then 2 hours later I see like James Gunn tweeting about it. So there wasn't really pomp and circumstance about the announcement of the tickets. And they had already had so many trailers for this movie out already by the time. So it's not like there was an announcement trailer for ticket sales that everyone was waiting for. So
yeah. And if you're in one of like 15 or 20 cities, you can actually watch this in IMAX on Monday, June 12th. I don't live near any of these cities, but that's a great opportunity if you want to go see it early. But yeah, I went ahead and bought my tickets. I think Indiana Jones came out like the week before, right? So I got those tickets. Like it's like adding these all to my Apple Wallet. I'm like, oh my god, like most of my stuff in here is now just movie tickets for this summer. So someone's like, you go to movies a lot? I'm like, well, this year I am. Not normally, but this year we're back in business after production kicked back up. So hopefully this movie does well. I don't want to see again, if movies are successful and good, we all win, right? We all lift each other up. So hopefully it's a good movie and successful. But boy, is there a lot of unknowns about this that I'm just ready to watch and get out of my system. So also, do not forget this was screened at what was that expo? What was that expo like a couple weeks ago?
CinemaCon?
Yeah. So again, full spoilers for this entire movie are out there, so avoid those at all costs.
Oh god, I think the most important thing out of this, Zack Snyder saw it and has officially declared the end of the Snyderverse.
Okay.
So Snyderverse bros, people, you've heard it from the man himself. Yeah. He has admitted he lost the election.
Oh my gosh.
So just deal with it. Oh my god, it was I mean, I never confirmed it. I never downloaded Vero and found his account and confirmed that he actually used the hashtag end of the Snyderverse or whatever. But I'm just gonna believe it because it has to be.
Right. Yeah. It was technically over a long time ago, but we'll let him have this. I think the only thing left from that would be Aquaman 2, right?
Yeah, I keep forgetting about
the only remnant, but I think this will affect that. I've heard again rumored post-credit scenes. The rumored post-credit scene for this movie is what ends the Snyderverse. So we'll see if it's this one or if Aquaman does it. So knock on wood. But tickets on sale. Get them if you want to go see this. A lot of people are excited to see George Clooney as Batman again, Mike. Not George Clooney, the other one. Michael Keaton. Why did I say George Clooney? That's the worst Batman. Why would I do that to myself? Michael Keaton as Batman in this. They also released a Hot Toys of him as Batman this week. Did you see that model? So it's him with the gray hair and all the bat suit stuff. Looks pretty cool. Shifting gears, we're going to talk about some sad news here. Actor Ray Stevenson, known for being the Punisher in the Punisher Warzone. He was a Volstagg in the Thor movies, passed away unexpectedly earlier this week. He is actually going to be one of the evil, not Sith, but Dark Jedi in the upcoming Ahsoka show. The character Baylan Skoll in that. He's the obviously the gray-haired man with the beard and the orangish lightsaber in the trailer we saw. So Really, really sad to lose him. He's been a great character actor. I've always liked Ray Stevenson and everything he's done. So if you've not seen The Punisher Warzone and you're looking for, again, something to mindlessly watch, I highly recommend that Punisher movie.
Yeah. He's a man with intensity.
Yeah. The Punisher Warzone also has Wayne Knight, known for the role of Newman in Seinfeld, in it. So if you didn't know that, that's a big win in that movie as well. So. But I'm excited to see him play a Dark Jedi in the upcoming Star Wars Ahsoka show, and again, sorry to hear his passing. Also, actor Tamara Morrison, known for playing Jango Fett and all the clones, Boba Fett and Book of Boba Fett, and all the other clones in that, will reportedly return in this as the live-action Captain Rex version, which was created in the Clone Wars for this.
He can't get rid of Tamara. He's out there, whether he's Boba Fett or not.
Yeah,
he's gonna be on your screen.
That's right. Just give him a different colored armor set, and he's good to go. He'll be doing this for as long as he can. I'm really glad he's kind of seen a resurgence, right? Like after Episode 3, right? They never really used him for anything, so really, really cool. Rumors for Star Wars Episode 10, Mike. This is big rumors here. And this is that the ghost versions of Luke and Anakin will be in this movie, or at least we're in a version of the script. Now, remember, we are on our second director / script writer. We had what's his name, who did Lost or whatever. I think the first script, but like this is supposed to have, again, ghost versions of Hayden Christensen and Mark Hamill in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, weirdly enough, it feels like a lot of the prequels have started to be rehabilitated over the years, either with like the Clone Wars or bringing some of the actors back for like a second chance, right? So it's weird to see like the Star Wars fandom kind of like energized about Hayden Christensen again. Right. It's just funny to me.
Yeah, well, it's the younger people. I found a lot of people who grew up only seeing the prequels first. They were like, yeah, this is great. This is my Star Wars, right? Then you have the people who are like, just kind of coming back into they're not kids, but like, people are coming in to the Force Awakens and those, and they're like, oh, I like these. I'm like, fine, you can have it. But the last, the Rise of Skywalker is the worst one. We can all agree here. That is the worst movie in the history of Star Wars.
Oh my god!
But
I still remember the feeling. Yeah, walking out of the theater, that I can't shake it.
Yeah, that makes two of us. However, I did want to point out that the original version, original script of The Force Awakens had a ghost Anakin in there, but he was half Anakin, half Vader, and it was like to portray him being conflicted between his good and bad sides, still the light and dark sides, which I thought would have been an interesting take on to seeing a Force ghost, right? Like,
yeah, but how do you do like a half and half ghost though? Like
right down the middle. Like, he's wearing one suit with one side, one suit with another.
Is this like a Two-Face situation?
Yeah, I to me, I imagine it more like a like a devil, like a angel and devil on your shoulders, kind of like you have one doing that, but like
that would be that. I feel like that's the Taika Waititi
version of
scene you're pitching
for that. So yeah, if they have them, great. That's awesome. Force ghosts are cool. We can't really, I guess we could pull in. No, I guess Obi-Wan really, he wasn't around, right? Like, I guess for what's her name, Rey, just Yoda there at the thing. I don't even think she was with him. She was with Luke. He was with Luke. So I couldn't think of any other Force ghosts I'd want to have. Let's just Mace Windu. Bring him in. He's pissed off, missing a hand. I think that's the best way to do it. The Mandalorian show season 3 just wrapped, but the Galactic Star Cruiser, which is shutting down in the end of this year, apparently was pitched a Mandalorian theme before closing. Like, maybe we can bring it back in by retooling this as a Mandalorian theme, which I think would have been interesting. But I was reading people about this when Bob Chapek pitched this and sold it to everybody. He was like, this is like the 1%ers, right, who are going to this hotel, and like as someone said, the people who would sell their mother to for Star Wars, so like once you go through all those people, who's left to go to this thing? And even making it Mandalorian theme, I don't think would change my mind. You just maybe get those people to revisit it with a different theme. But
yeah, also too, with that price tag, you're creating extremely high expectations for probably a very privileged crowd who already have very high expectations. Yep. So I feel like you're just setting yourself up, and then also, like, you also miss out on the opportunity for like free advertising, right? If you only have like a very limited number of people going through the Star Cruiser, you know, every couple of days, like, that you're limiting your social reach, right? You know, there's not going to be as many YouTube videos made of people's trips there. You know, not as many like viral like tweets or TikToks of like my time at the Star Cruiser, because you're just really cranking down the number of people that can experience it. So yeah, but like I said last time we talked about this, I'm sure that there's a spreadsheet, there's a pie chart somewhere by some very smart accountant that projected, in this scenario worked. It's like Doctor Strange looking at the time stone, right? He was just like, out of the 1 billion possibilities, one of them is financially successful, and this is it. Let's go for it.
Yeah, we've got everybody on board. It's a unique, and you know, everything I heard about this was great. Like, nobody complained about the quality of it. It was just $6,000 plus for a family of 4 there for a couple days. Like, Jesus, I couldn't imagine it. So, it's wild, but I'm glad they're shutting down these expensive options at the park. On the flip side, earlier this week, Pedro Pascal confirmed that his role in The Mandalorian is mostly voiceover for him from now on. So he did kind of say, like, it allowed me to go do other things, a la The Last of Us, right? During that last season. So they don't think, you know, he will ever, if he takes his helmet off, it'll be a rare occasion, you know, right? In however many seasons remain, you know, when he's in that Dave Filoni movie, right? So I don't think we're going to see him, but maybe once or twice ever again, like his face in the show. So I think
talk about a clutch gig.
Yeah.
I mean, like we were talking about before, you know, voice acting like the thing, you know, right? This is just... Man, this is awesome. This is like this. What an amazing journey Pedro Pascal has been on through his career.
One of these, again, he's essentially got the James Earl Jones role, right, of Vader in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can entirely, I anticipate they've recorded enough words from him to they can just literally type it into a computer. But okay, throw this dialogue in, and it sounds like the Mandalorian going forward, right? So. Wouldn't be surprised if he's not even recording lines very often going forward either. Just ones that they couldn't get right.
Yeah, I'll be the first to say I don't have a lot of respect for the Mandalorian zealots and their culture, so I would like to see everybody's faces and take off their helmets at some point in time, because once you spend a little more time with Mandalorians, you just start to think like, they have to take the helmet off at some point, just functionally, right? We all got that scene of like, oh, how do they eat together? You know, you go off on your own.
Yeah.
You know, like that. You know, that was kind of an interesting tidbit. But like, eventually, you got what happens when, like, you know, you meet somebody you really like? Do you not get to like a kiss? Or you're allowed to take your pants off, but not your helmet off?
Well,
like,
as you know, they don't. They really just add new abandoned children to their cause, Mike. As we both learned, the Mandalorian and Grogu were both just kind of found and added to the thing. So it's a home for wayward Mandalorians. But I really not surprised at this. I'm glad they're letting him do it, and he can go on and do other things, right? So good for him. All right, a little bit of meat here for the episode, Mike. We had a Sony State of Play. We haven't had one in 2 years, I think they said, this week. And, you know, we got some games. A lot of the games, trailers, some look cool. Some looked kind of okay, right? Not really up my alley. Whatever's fine. But they, as in tradition, when you have a hour-long event, you save your best stuff for last. And the best thing for last is they gave us what I thought originally, and I texted you this and deleted it, was a Wolverine gameplay trailer. Because
I saw it. And it was a good guess.
The start of this trailer feels like a Wolverine game. However, Spider-Man 2 gives us 12 minutes of cinematics, gameplay, and more, all in one goodness. We're meaty 12-minute section here. It's great.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about this for a while, because this was the highlight of my week for sure when it comes to just anything that I got to see on the internet. It was a great thing because I knew somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody, right, of people that worked at PlayStation, and through the chain of knowing somebody, I was told that there wasn't going to be any Spider-Man thing happening at this State of Play. So I had my hopes like really, really low, right? You know,
Mike even told me this, and I was like, Oh man, that's gonna be sad if they don't have it.
I mean, I was just relaying the information that I had. I didn't necessarily believe it. I was just reporting, right? I was just doing my journalistic integrity, right? Just letting my buddy know what I know.
Yeah, no fingers pointed here. It was just like one of those things, like you're like, oh really? That's not. But I'll tune in anyway, just in case. But that was like I was hoping for.
So I had the state of play just kind of like pulled up in the corner of my monitor, just going on throughout my day, right? And then all of a sudden we pull up to this the final video, right? Saving the best for last, as Chris say. And we're in the jungle, right? Like, what are we watching? Somebody's being stalked here. This is a very highly polished cinematic, but could be literally anything. And, I'm not super plugged into the video game zeitgeist, so I could be seeing something extremely familiar right now, and I have no idea what it is. Then all of a sudden, Craven pops in, and she's like, "Oh, is this a Craven like video game?" I mean, I'm not opposed to it. A weird IP to start to adapt, but I don't know. Maybe it's Craven season with the movie kind of in the zeitgeist too.
It felt like like Wolverine, right? Like it's in the jungle. You have again Craven and Wolverine would be like two hunters, right? Like I'm like obviously this is our first footage of Wolverine, and we've not had it in forever. So my mind immediately went there before the next scene transitioned, where they're like, why don't we find a new hunting ground, and it's New York.
But even when that happened and they showed the hunting ground and they saw New York, I still didn't believe it was Spider-Man, because I was like, Marvel like licenses their IP to like so many different video game studios. This could be like this could be like an expansion for like Marvel Snap. Maybe it's coming to the PlayStation, right? Because what we're doing is we're watching a cinematic.
Yeah.
It could be literally for anything. Like the cinematics for Midnight Suns look beautiful, but have nothing to do with like what you're doing like in the game, like visually represented, right?
Yep.
So I'm just like, what is happening here? So like when Peter / Spidey / Venom pops out of that basement cellar in Queens, I was like, it's the Spider-Man gameplay trailer.
So he literally the starts off. I thought it was just going to be a trailer. Like we were sitting there, like, it's just going to be another trailer. It's going to end here. We're not going to get more of this, right? It's just a tease that Kraven is going to be in the game. We have to fight Kraven. No, that was literally just the first 2 minutes. We had 10 more minutes to go on this sucker. And they literally introduced Peter Parker jumping out of the Lizard's house, right? His basement. In his red suit being projected out by black tentacles. And you're like, oh my god. And then you see the black Venom symbiote take over his red suit, and he gets this nice wet, gooey, glossy black suit that you get to see for the rest of the trailer.
And it's a cool look too. Like I would say a unique yet traditional interpretation of the black suit Spider-Man, because usually it's just it's like a color shift, right? It's a new variation. It's like selecting your Smash Brothers character, right? And you just change Link's color from like green, to black, right? Still essentially the same character model, right? But he's kind of got these cool kind of like almost like textured, like kind of like football paddings, kind of
shoulders,
in a way, going around.
Yep.
And it looks really, really cool. And also like an announcement right there, right? I mean, I guess you could have assumed that you would have been getting like the Venom suit at some point in time, but like I thought my interpretation was at the end of the last Spider-Man game that we were just going to see the symbiote, like we were going to see Venom as a villain.
Well,
right?
the first trailer for Spider-Man 2 was just Venom. It was Tony Todd talking, and they showed Venom at the end, right? Like the Venom himself. So you're right. Like nobody, like you could kind of, I guess, extrapolate potential black suit, but like no, like Kraven was the announcement, and the black suit was just an exclamation mark on the Spider-Man portion of it.
Or like you could see the black suit maybe coming in like one of the final chapters of the video game, right?
Yep.
You're building up to fight your final villain, and you finally get some of the suit. But it seems to be it's going to be like a narrative driver in the story of Miles dealing with Peter kind of being more edgy and violent and a little careless.
He's very dismissive, right? Like there's the meme here that I've seen 100 times where Peter saves a dude from the exploding helicopter, right? And like he lands and he just like kind of throws him to the ground, like because because and you hear it in his voice. He's angrier, he's darker. He's like like he's very, very I wouldn't say bloodthirsty, but like violent sounding in the voice actor voice. And that was a huge surprise and like a welcome surprise as well, right? Like he's fighting Craven goons and Queens. This is the first time we've ever seen Queens in the game as well.
Yeah, that's a big question mark that I have too, because Manhattan is this great playground for a video game map, right? Because it's an island, right? Talk about a perfect way to just build invisible walls around your video game of like, oh, my character, like there's a couple bridges, right? But like we just put some little blockades there and they won't be able to leave the island. But now that we're going to Manhattan, Queens theoretically connects to the rest of the continent, right? You know, if the video game engine was limitless, you could web swing your way across the country from there. So is Queens just going to be like a little gameplay moment, like how they I think Rikers Island. I don't think you could go back to Rikers.
Yeah, you can't swing
outside of that. So is it going to be like one of those things, or do we go get to visit Queens and it's the expansion of the map? I mean, I've only been to New York one time, but I did go to Queens while I was there. And at least from the areas that I got to experience, it's much more suburban, like you get to see in this trailer. So not a lot of big buildings, not a lot of opportunities to do a lot of big web swings there.
And kind of the way this happens is you see, there are two little icons of them. You use your L1 and your R1 for different attacks, right? As Spider-Man. It was cool to see him literally like pick up 4 people in group style and slam them down.
So cool.
But and then he like also like bicycle kicked a dude against the wall as well. Like
that was
against
rad.
the house. But at the end of that, like he doesn't come back to the island. He literally, it says switch to Miles, right? It shows that you get to play as both of them. So you switch them. So I agree. It could be a you're here for a couple scenes moments rather than, hey, you're going to stick around for a while. But when we went back to Miles, we get to see him with his new wingsuit and the gliding around.
You know me, whenever we get a chance to talk about video games, my number one favorite thing is just traversal mechanics.
Yes.
Just anything to get around the world. And now that there's wingsuits, like, hell yeah, awesome. It's not a jetpack, but to me, it's basically a jetpack, which is the coolest thing you could do in a video game.
And then to even, like, double down, so you have your swinging, you have your things, but then there were also the aerial tunnels you can see there on the map where Miles flew into, like, a speed boost, if you will. So getting around New York is going to be even faster.
And it's before. Like, and you get to see a little bit where it transitions to Peter too, where he like threads the needle of this subway car when he's chasing the lizard. He like goes through it with a wingsuit, then he pops out into it. It's so cool. So like I feel like they're doing everything right here. Where this is technically like the 3rd game in the series, right? Yeah. So we're getting like new powers, new abilities, new mechanics. I'm curious what they'll do to kind of refamiliarize ourselves with the tool set, right? Video games usually try to come up with like creative ways to be like, oh, you've lost all your powers, let's slowly get them back, which I know that they didn't do that recently with the new Star Wars game. You started with all your abilities, but I need the tutorial. Like if I try to pick Spider-Man back up, I just want to kill some time and swing around the city, it takes me like an hour to remember how to play the game because there's so many little things that you can do, so many different like combos and volleys and like mechanics. I need to be retrained.
Did you play the Miles game at all? By chance? So I like what they stripped it down, right? Like you don't have 10 gadgets, you had 4 gadgets and like 4 abilities rather than like all of Spider-Man's. I thought that was a better way to handle a streamlined version of the game. But as you saw, like you're actually pulling left trigger or L1s and R1s to different like stacking your abilities. I'm like, that's wild. I really like.
You can I was just gonna say with the abilities you can make your own lines.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The zip line, like so you like Miles had this thing. He created a line across the room. Then in the middle of that line, created another zip line. I'm like, the stealth sections are gonna be way more entertaining when you can like do your own lines above everybody rather than relying on that stuff. He also did like a Kamehameha blast with his energy ball and some other like he actually shocked someone in slow motion. She flew back and the bolts chain lightning to everybody else as well. So both characters are getting some upgrades. But you're right, like you thank God this is probably not the first mission. But like they're gonna have to like ease you back in, right? Maybe he upgraded his suit or something and like, hey, take the new suit for a run, kind of thing.
Oh man, And just talking about the mission just in general, just the section of the game that we get to see in this gameplay trailer, it looks so fun. It's like high octane, like you are like jumping on and off jet skis, you're webbing to like Genki's like hacked drone, and you're like skiing like through like the harbor while the lizards like chasing you.
Dodging bullets, like you're using the spider sense to dodge sniper shots.
Yeah, it like transitions to the pier where you're like doing it on the pier too, and you're moving. It looks so cool. It's so fun. Like this is probably like rivaling almost any other like Spider-Man media. Like I love the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, but like I feel like I'm almost loving the games like even more. And they're doing a really good job with the narrative too, like reinventing things, but also like making it fun and familiar. So, oh man, it was a surprise above all surprises. I'm just glad that you told me it was happening, right?
Yeah.
That like they were doing like a state of play. I don't think they called it a state of play. I think they just called it a game showcase this time around.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I tuned in because it was fun going into it not knowing what I was about to see, because now they've just clipped it into trailers and you know exactly what you're about to watch, but it was fun being surprised.
Yeah, and again, I just can't believe it's 12 minutes, like 10 minutes of gameplay, right? Like that's to me, that is unrivaled. I thought it would just be cinematics, like hype, but no, the gameplay was there as both Spider-Man. You see cities, traversing the city, traversing the water, some underground stuff, some stealth stuff. This trailer, I will say, overall seems very early in the game, and I only say this because Genki hasn't met Peter yet. And it was like the first time they met in this trailer. He was like, "Hi, Mr. Spider-Man," or whatever. So, very, very interested to see kind of where they pick up and where they meet up and how this goes. But I'm thrilled. I'm so happy. This is like one of two games I own a PlayStation for, right? And it looks like it's firing on all cylinders.
Yeah. Do we know when it's supposed to come out?
This fall.
Okay.
Yes, it is this
year. Which
year.
means, in video game fashion, will get delayed and probably be more like November.
So, well, thankfully, like all the PlayStation first party games, right? Like God of War Ragnarok, they didn't give a release date until they were 100% certain it was going to come out, right? So, and the I'm feeling the same with this. That's why they gave a window of fall. Like, what's the last day of fall we can do, right? I guess December 21st before winter actually turns. But you're gonna want to have this for the holidays. This is gonna sell consoles right here, 100% think so. So yeah, absolutely. Check that trailer out on our show notes when you get some time. It's gonna be a nice palate cleanser for your week there. Switching up gears, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, the movie, has a new trailer coming out this week, Mike. I want to let you know that. I was going to say it's probably trying to land literally before Into the Spider-Verse, right? Because this is the same art style, very close art styles. And it has moved up a couple days to August 2nd when it comes out this summer. And it'll only be against the Meg 2. So
I don't think they have to worry so much about that one, but I'm so excited for Turtles.
Yeah, that's going to be a good, I guess, like you said, that summer ender right there, that in the summer on that cap. So very excited for that movie to hit this summer as well. Did you see this trailer for Skull Island that came out? The Netflix animated series set.
I just randomly came across it, and I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Why are they making this?
Yeah, so I forget who owns is it Legendary? I think maybe owns Kong in Godzilla stuff. So they literally, there's an Apple TV live action show coming out, right? For the Godzilla, it's called Titans or something like that.
Like the organization that like protects Earth or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's whatever that was called. And then there's like
Monarch. That's what it was.
Monarch. There is they're working. What was that trailer we saw? Was it Godzilla vs. Kong 2, right? It had the bigger, like, orangutan-looking monkey on the throne. There, Skull Island. This does look like the DC animation style, right? On this trailer, very much that. And what's the other show? Invincible. Looks very much Invincible-esque a little bit. So they're going on with this. This didn't really move me too much to want to watch it, but thought it was interesting that they've made it and it's coming out June 22nd. So that'll be some.
I was just taken aback. It seemed like something that you would see maybe release within like one of the last movies, right? Usually that's kind of like the play for these Netflix animated adaptions, right? They try to like synergize a little bit with something else that's just come out, and I'm like, I think we're a little far away from like the next Kong thing, so very strange.
Well, my guess is it's like, hey, this is to remind you that this property's still out there while we make the movie and other stuff. Because again, Godzilla vs. Kong was HBO Max. Remember, they dropped that on HBO Max digital first in like 2022, was it, or 21 when it came out? So you gotta be all over the place, all over streaming services to watch this stuff. Because the next one will be Apple TV. So they're just licensing out to everybody and anybody who's got a streaming service. Lastly, this is more Mortal Kombat 2 news. The movie, Adeline Rudolph, who I believe was also in The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, much like the last actress who was confirmed, and she is the female lead in Hellboy: The Crooked Man, which also recently wrapped filming, will play Katana in this upcoming movie. Katana is, I believe, she is the blue fan-wielding Mortal Kombat character. You remember the ones?
We're both right now just like Googling Katana Mortal Kombat.
Like Jada's green, Katana's the blue one. She's essentially the I guess the love interest of Liu Kang in the games. So Princess Katana, so she's the blue fan wielding one, not the green one. That's Jade. So woof.
I'm more interested in the parentheses that the Crooked Man just wrapped up filming.
Yeah.
That's more I would
Interesting.
say exciting at this point in time.
Yeah. So the Hellboy, the new movie written by Mike Mignola, based on the series, wrapped filming I think last week or so. So she is now free to move on to the Mortal Kombat 2 filming. I want them to go ahead and just confirm Carla Urban is playing Johnny Cage. Like, go ahead and tell us that's true, so we can get that out of our heads and get excited for this movie to come out, right? So, big year for Mortal Kombat fans. I feel like Mortal Kombat all over the place. But that's it. That's the show for this week, Mike. Really love talking Spider-Man with you because we haven't really talked since we saw it live. So, absolutely great there. But if people want to know what you're up to, what you're doing, where can they find you, bud?
Well, they can find me at Mike Royer Design on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and you can read my webcomic at liferewardsrisk.com. Chris, if people want to find you, catch you, see where you're at, where can they find you?
Find me on Instagram, Valdan87, or Twitter, Valdan, Valdan, or any video game system with those things on there. You can check it out. If people know more about the show and what we do every week, and next week we'll have 2 episodes for you guys with our Across the Spider-Verse review. Where can they find all that good stuff at?
Yeah, we're gearing up for the summer movie season, so if you want to see what we'll be reviewing, what news we're going to be talking about, head on over to superheroslate.com. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, wherever else you love to listen to find podcasts. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. You can get merch at superheroslate.com/store. We love hearing from you. Reach out. What did you think of the Spider-Man gameplay trailer? Are you excited for the new blue Beetle villain that we think is an insect? We don't know. Let us know. Reach out. Let us know what you think. We love our super fans, so if you want to be a super fan of this show, all you got to do is share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy, and we'll be here every week, folks.
That's right. We'll catch you guys next week.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.